Hello, boys and girls. How are we doing? It's Wednesday. You weren't expecting this, were you? I told you I wasn't streaming today, yet here I am. I've made a liar of myself. I've realised the progress bar is still on there. We don't need that on there anymore. That's all done with. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Good news is the mattress has been delivered earlier than expected. We were given a window of 1:45 to 3:45, but they phoned me this morning, said it should be with you by 1. And it turned up about 15 minutes ago. So mattress is in. Hooray! You're welcome for the extra work, Chris. You are welcome. I was worried you had not a lot to do this week. So thought I'd throw a little bit extra at you. You're welcome. Goody, goody. Right, let's do a little intro for Chris as he's alerted me to his presence. And then it'll only be a quickie today. A couple of hours. But I couldn't leave this save. I'm really enjoying it. And the thought of not touching it again until next week made me very sad. Right, where are we? What is the situation? Well, we are finally underway in our first season in the Football League. We're favourites for promotion. We've got a ridiculously goal-scoring top goal scorer. The only thing missing is we're not actually in a promotion spot in the league yet. Time to remedy that. There you go, short and sweet. Even the intro's short and sweet today, boys and girls. If you weren't in yesterday afternoon's stream, we did do our summer transfer window and played the first few matches of the new season. We didn't do a lot in terms of transfers. We didn't really need to. We had a very good squad that even without bringing in any new players was already considered good enough for a top 5 finish in League 2. We have, however, brought in a couple of stars. Kevin Decter is going to be an absolute superstar. He's got 6 goal contributions from 6 games on a 7.3. His first 6 games in professional football. That'll do nicely. We also brought in Phil Scott, who's even better. Phil Scott is now considered one of the best players in League 2. 22 years old, 6'5" centre-back, already valued over £1 million at the top end of his range. 4-star current ability, 5-star potential. And he is also great, a 7.18 as his average so far. And we spent money bringing this guy in on loan. This one hasn't quite worked out yet. Nurula Arichi. We are paying Villa actual money. Bear in mind our highest transfer in the club's history was about 8 grand. We're paying 10 times that to loan this guy for the season because we thought he was going to be the missing piece of the puzzle. And unfortunately, so far, not so much. But, you know, the season is still young. Jamar Hughes is scoring for fun at this level like he was at the level before. Imagine that, step up from non-league to the Football League. I don't know how he made it through the end of the transfer window without a League One club snapping him up, especially because at the time he only had 1 year left on his contract. He has now signed an extension on double the money. I think that's probably fair. And the league table is looking not like that. Come on, Kev. The league table is looking thusly. We have got a game in hand. If we win the game in hand, we go up to 3rd in the league with the top goal scorer. That would do nicely. Thank you, Tyler. Thank you, Rick, for both being in, both with the 14-month subs as well. Do you two watch together? You've subbed for exactly the same amount of time, and then you've resubbed 5 minutes apart. I assume they sit there watching together. But I appreciate the fact that you both sub, if that is the basis for how you do it. But the plan for this afternoon is just to get through a bunch more games. I want to get us into an automatic promotion spot. I want to get some more matches under my belt. We've not played many matches in this save for like 2 weeks. We're going to get some done. Very wobbly intro, was it? I was probably wibbly-wobblying the desk. It'll be fine. Chris will deal with that. He can sort the wobble, probably. It's the one downside to mounting the camera on the desk. If I get like this when I'm talking, it is going to wobble. So, yeah, of course you can, Chris. I have faith in you. You'll make it so it's wobble-free. Yeah, I've got to get out of the habit of leaning back and forth onto the desk. Also, the other habit I need to break. What's Anna saying? Yeah, Anna's telling me exactly what I'm telling you now. Thank you, Anna. The other thing I've got to get out of the habit of is leaning back and forth like this. A, because it does wobble the desk. But also, it screws with the autofocus. I need better behaviour. Better on-camera behaviour. I've been doing this 6 years. This is my job, for goodness sake. I need to be less wibbly wobbly. Right, where were we? How proud I was over the way Posh played last night. An average amount of proud, I guess. I'm not getting all giddy about it the way some fans are. Oh, why can't we play like this every week? Because we're not playing Man City every week. If we played like that every week, fans would be furious. If we played with no attacking intent, with a flat back six, and the rest of the team behind the ball, and the striker, our lone striker, usually on the edge of our own penalty area. If we played like that every week, everyone would be furious. It was the amount of nonsense I was seeing on Twitter last night. It was a good performance for the circumstances. We did very well. We made it so we were hard to break down against one of the best teams in the world. Great, but we can't play like that every week, because you play like that, more often than not, you're going to lose. You'll lose valiantly, but more often than not, you will lose. Because you're playing to stifle the opposition. You're not playing with any kind of ambition. Football fans, so I swear, some football fans watch the matches by just looking at what the scoreline was and deciding from there how well we played. So we only lost 2-0 against Man City. That must mean we played really well. You beat a team 1-0 with a fluked, scuffed deflection off of a long ball, whereas when the rest of the match was dross, oh, we must have played really well. Whereas you can put on a really good performance and be unlucky to lose 1-0, and we played disastrously. Football fans just need to watch the football sometimes. It's very frustrating. Rant over. I enjoyed it. It was nice. It was, the first half in particular was nice. Hunting Glory FM, thank you very much for the sub. Yeah, Ricky J. Jones. Well, yeah, Ricky J. Jones gave them lots of trouble. They did swap both their centre backs at half time. One of them was injured, I think. Ake was injured, wasn't he? But yeah, to have a 19-year-old striker who's only started about 3 matches in his career force Man City into changing both centre backs at half time. That's not too shabby, is it? I'm expecting big money bids in for him. It very much felt like we picked a team to try and show the young talent we got, to draw some bids, the likes of Edwards and Poku and Jones. It very much felt like an exercise in putting some of these boys in the shop window. I think if Harrison Burrows had been fully fit, he'd have started as well. And you know what? We're about to get relegated from the Championship. We could do with a £10 million injection. It's not the worst idea in the world to get these boys in the shop window. We can sell one of them. Roy Keane hit the nail on the head in the coverage. If we can sell one of them for big money, keeps us afloat for another year. That's what it's all about. We're a selling club. Right, let's do a football. Come along, gentlemen. Oh, that's some lovely football. Goodness me. We're going up as bleeping champions. But Fuchs played well. He played well in the role he was in. My frustration with Fuchs, since we've had him, has been that that's all he does. Which, again, it's fine against Manchester City to have a central midfielder literally just sitting in front of your back five and chasing around and doing some tackling. But week in, week out, when he's playing as one of 2 men in midfield, you need a bit more from him. And we are going to need to see a little bit more from him. Especially because he usually plays against Norburn, who's a very similar like midfield spoiler. And when you've got 2 spoilers in there next to each other, you don't create anything. So, like I say, it was a good performance in the circumstances. There are a lot of Posh fans getting very carried away, trying to use it as evidence that Grant McCann is the second coming. And I'm not buying it yet. Edwards is very good. Saw links with Liverpool after this morning after that performance. I mean, Ronnie Edwards is he is the young talent. The chairman has nicknamed him New Stadium like a year ago. Because when we sell him, it's going to pay for our new stadium that we're after. Because he's that good. Our chairman describes him as the best teenage defender outside of the top 4 in the Premier League. Which, I don't know. I don't know if that's an exaggeration. He is very, very, very good. Especially when especially bringing the ball out of defence. He's incredibly comfortable on the ball for a young kid. But I don't know. How much do you get for defenders? How much did Barnsley get for John Stones? That's probably the nearest comparison in recent history for a player of similar ability, similar talent, similar club. I think they only got about 3 million, didn't they? I don't think you can buy a new stadium for 3 million these days. I spot Posh. She seems very good at breaking up play, not so good going forward. Yeah, Fuchs. Yeah, absolutely he is. Watch views on YouTube. I sometimes had to keep up with all the keep up with lovely stuff. Never knew you streamed. Well, here I do stream. I've been streaming for as long as I've been doing YouTube. Yeah, feed the spud. You are the evidence that I need to mention Twitch more often on YouTube, because that is wonderful that you're here. Terrifying that you didn't know about the Twitch. I need to start talking about it more. We got around 5 million plus around 25% profit from the Man City sale. Okay. It's still not new stadium money, is it? That's probably the biggest frustration about the relegation. It's harder to sell a League One defender for £10 million than it is to sell a Championship one for £10 million. But, I mean, you never know. Maybe he sticks around for 2 more years, continues his development. I'll be surprised if he does, but maybe. I'll feed the spuds in with a Twitch Prime as well. Thank you very much. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Right, come on then. Let's be having you. Been playing too much of the Norwich save. Oh, top corner here. Oh, look at it. He's a good player, isn't he? Oh. Have you given any thought to having a graphic made for YouTube with my socials on it? Saves you. Oh, has Chris put you up to ask him for this? He's been badgering me for this. I think they're really tacky. I don't know. I don't like them. Especially because I'm the same on everything. It literally is. You type in LOLLUJO to the internet, and you'll see my Twitter, my Instagram, my Twitch, my YouTube, all on the same day. End of the day, it's your call. No, I agree. It should be there. Certainly on the channel formerly known as the Vlog channel. Absolutely should be on there, because it's not as obvious on there. Oh, we've lost Hughes for 4 weeks. On the channel that's called LOLLUJO, I expect my audience to have the intelligence to type in LOLLUJO and find me on other things. But on a channel called Kevin Chapman, it's a little bit different. Newcomers to that channel might not have any idea who this LOLLUJO guy is. So it does make sense on there. But on the main channel, I don't know. The links are in the description. No to star wipes. I want anything that looks like a PowerPoint transition. It's like adding drop shadow to everything. I mean, I feel like that's a personal attack on my thumbnails. So that's one of the few things I know how to do. Just a little friendly reminder prompt. You always used to apologize for asking for thumbs up and mention Twitch a lot. Graphic would save you having to pretend you're humble like the rest of us. I mean, the actual official business response to that, people will ignore it on screen. If you look back at my early videos, like my first 4 years on YouTube, certainly back in the green screen days, can't spell YouTube. YouTube. LOLLUJO. Oh, look, there he is. There he blooming is. But if you go way back, can we pick a playlist? We're going to pick a playlist. So if we pick, how far back? Let's pick this one. So I always used to start the videos like that. And they all started like that. And at the time, I obviously wasn't on Twitch, but there were times when I was on Twitch as well where that one would be split. And I think it looks a bit rubbish, which is why I switched to just going full screen. More professional. Show off the nice camera quality by going full screen with it. Oh, that's when I still had to have the FMs and stuff. That's when I was still using Facebook. My word, I've not logged into Facebook in about 2 years. Thank you to those of you who've liked my Facebook page. I don't use it, ever. But it still posts my videos every day, Anna tells me. Sort of a joke in the FM community when we shared thumbnails with each other. It was needs more drop shadow to everything. Ah, okay. Me and Benji kissed it made up yet? We've not kissed recently. No, the best way to get someone to like a video or to go to Twitch is to actually say, can you like the video? Can you check out my Twitch? I don't mind the graphics. It's just wary of relying too much on them and not actually doing what I'm supposed to do because the graphics exist. Adam, thank you for 10 months. What a wonderful thing. Big Holman. Big Holman. That's his theme tune. Where's little Holman? Down there. Don't you worry. Right, let's beat Scunthorpe. What was that yellow thing over the mouse there? That was weird. Did you bring much back from the lockup when Anna went? No. She found a Christina Aguilera poster and, I don't know, bits, a couple of board games and a few other bits and pieces. Not too much. What happened to Theodros? What? This guy? Our starting centre forward in this match? Don't you worry. He's still around. He's been at the club nearly 10 years now. If we don't start moving up the leagues quickly, he might not play for us in the Premier League, and that would be very upsetting. He's going to score in a minute, I think. There you go. Square it to him. There he is with the hairband on in the middle. That's him. Little fancy pants with his hairband on. Do, 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 do. Come on, let's do a football. Where's Scunthorpe in the league? Way down there. We should be beating them. We will beat them. I can feel the, talking of my camera shaking, I can feel the wall shaking because Anna's got the washing machine on in the next room. For some reason I was looking for it in central midfield. I mean, he does play in central midfield, probably more often than he plays up front. So you were looking in the right place. But he's super talented. He can play anywhere. Got into FM with this new one and randomly found on YouTube about 2-3 weeks ago. Yes, our final cut with non-need to legend. Wow. That is some solid work. There's like 120 episodes of that now, isn't there? Good work. And you still made it over to Twitch. That confirms I mention it enough. Right, we're just giving them a little head start here to make the game more interesting. It's boring if you just win every game and there's no threat. Here's our new superstar. Oh, young Kevin. Young Kevin in midfield. He's there again. What a man. He's the second best Kevin involved in this save already. And that is impressive. Look at that burst through from midfield. It's like watching Etienne Tipple. Arichi's still rubbish, but we're spending so much money on him. What I kind of need to happen is Villa to recall him. But for now, we continue to persist with him because he's costing us so much money. Seems to win more when you're not paying attention. Oh yeah, absolutely. Is that Sheafy playing for them? Oh, no, it's a different Sheaf. I thought it was Sheafy. Oh, I was looking forward to catching up with Sheafy. Right, why is my mouse button thing not working? That's no good. Right. Come on, chaps. Goodrum has not had the electrifying start to life in League 2 that I thought he would. After being our best player for a number of years and playing really well on the cup runs against higher level opposition, he is really struggling with this step up, which is not what I expected from him, really. I'm a little disappointed. Final change. Gilks can come on. Tipple must be one of my favourite players of all time. I love him. He's brilliant. Right, hold on. We need to wake up the mouse. My spacebar shortcut isn't working on the mouse. I'm not going to start using my left hand to play Football Manager like a caveman. That's better. Oh, now little Kev has picked up a knock. Come on, boys. Encourage! We have only had one shot on... I was going to say, we should have won this. We only had one shot on target in the entire match. We only have ourselves to blame. We're nothing without Hughes up front. We need him back quick. How front-loaded are the fixtures in this league? I know in non-league, we've played like 35 of our matches by New Year's Day. Hopefully they're a bit more spread out at this level, so we don't have Hughes missing for too many of them, because that would be very upsetting. Which league do you think is the biggest step up in quality on the way from National League North to South? League 1 to the Championship. Left hand as a caveman. People who play Football Manager with two hands are cavemen. Or cave women. I'm not sexist. Cave persons. Cave folk. I guess if you're on a laptop, you can use the same hand for the touch thing and the spacebar. It's only desktop people. I use a keyboard. I need to press spacebar to get through emails. Yeah, but I use my mouse for that. Ta-da! This button on the mouse, where is it? This button is just a hotkey for the spacebar. So I can just sit here with my left hand on behind my head like this and just enjoy moving through my emails nice and quick. Oh, the greatest investment in the business I've ever made. I've bought some ridiculous stuff over the years. Fancy green screen, expensive cameras, super duper lighting, fancy sit stand desk, but having an extra button on my mouse so I don't have to move this arm. Game changer. Right, we're off to... Oh, it's our old rivals, Notts County. Our rivals off of the non-league when they used to steal all our players. Is Okoflex still there? We've got any of our former players now. He hasn't got enough A's in his name, that lad. Pokemon cards. Pokemon cards are not a ridiculous business purchase. They're a sensible business purchase. That's me investing for my future. It's my retirement fund. It's no more ridiculous than having my money in crypto. Have I spoken to Ben since the showdown? Yeah, loads of times. like he said in the chat when he was here yesterday, we spoke for like 3 or 4 hours, close to 4 hours on Sunday night after the showdown finished. It's all an act. We're putting on a show. How many Pokemon cards are actually worth loads? I don't know. As I was explaining to Anna with these purchases yesterday, my intention isn't necessarily to have individual cards that are worth loads of money, more to have sealed product and keep it for a long time. Because if you look back at any, like a sealed booster box like this, still sealed, if you can find any of these from 5 years ago, 10 years ago, they're worth a lot more than I paid for this. This was less than £100. If you find a 5-year-old one of any expansion pack, they're all going to be multiple hundreds. If you find a 10-year-old one, you're pushing up towards 4 figures. So my theory is, if I have loads of sealed product and hold it long term, and holding long term, if I was to ever write a book about investments, it would just be called Hold It Long Term. That's literally all I do. I buy stuff and then I don't ever sell it. I just hold it forever. So that's my theory. Get some sealed product and hold it and keep it. That being said, I've got a few individual cards that are worth in the hundreds. Come on, I would love it if we could beat Notts County. We are struggling for goals without Hughes. This is a point of order for the opening of the transfer window again in January. Now that we've still got loads of money. I think we've now learned we probably need another striker in the squad. Because if Goodrum, Okoronkwo and Theodros aren't stepping up as goal scorers at this level, we need one or two more. Dector's carrying us a bit at the moment. Oh, that's annoying. That's really upsetting. Did I figure out a way I could play normal music? I mean, I can, but I'm still not going to. I'm still not going to. As far as I'm concerned, looking through the legality of the situation, it's still infringing on copyright, even if Twitch aren't policing it. And I'd rather be on the right side of history if and when they do decide to clamp down on it, or if record labels start going after creators or anything like that. I have now got it set up so my VODs and my clips don't have any music on them. So I've got round it in that way, but I still think using copyright-free music on stream is the right way to go. I will hydrate. It's too much of a risk. If this was just my hobby, it would be different. But it's too much of a risk. If one day the record labels wake up and decide they're just going to go after content creators, I could just do without the fine or the court case or the streaming ban or all these other things that put my income at risk, put my livelihood at risk, just for the sake of having a few songs on. You can play normal music on stream. Not legally, no. People do, because no one's stopping them. But if you actually look at the law, no, you can't. You're still infringing on copyright. was watching the same. I was watching the VOD, and it's not the same without the bums. Well, you'll have to convince Chris to add some background music to the highlights. He's right there. Convince him. Tell him you miss it. Yeah, this music is fine. Exactly. Isn't the law the same for playing video games? Technically, no, because video games have their end user license agreements that you agree to as part of the process of installing the game, and they give you rights to be able to stream it. If you read the end user license agreement of Football Manager, they are giving you permission to stream the game within it, which they can revoke. I think it would be sensible for there to be a streaming license. There's for live music venues. I mean, you can get a broadcast license as a streamer. It's just really expensive. And I don't think there's any upside to it. I think having music having really loud music is quite distracting. I do think. Just play Northampton and beat them. I think this music's fine. Plus, I'm making Harris hella rich, and what more could I really want out of life than to make a very rich man even richer? He's got some good tutorials. He deserves his 100 grand a month he's making out of stream beats. Still blocked by Ben after the showdown at the weekend. Wow. Susoho has picked up an injury. Oh, he's recovering already. That's fine. We'll leave him on for now. What I'll do, Chris, is I'll do a poll on the community page of LOLLUJO too, because it doesn't really matter what the people of Twitter think. It's what the viewers of LOLLUJO 2 think. Send you a reminder. There's a good boy. Stream Beats rock album isn't too bad. I like the hi-fi and the lo-fi ones. This is the hi-fi one. I think they're just nice little non-offensive bits of background noise, so that every now and again I can sit there and not say anything and it not seem really weird. Because I think that's the thing. I get watching a VOD back is different from watching a YouTube video. An edited YouTube video, you're not going to have those moments of silence unless they're done deliberately with a purpose. Whereas on a stream, you don't talk constantly for 3 or 4 hours. I get close, but I can't talk constantly for 3 or 4 hours. And those moments of silence where you just like this are really weird if there's no noise going on at all. We're going to score a goal here, boys and girls. Brace yourselves. Yeah, feed the spud. Main tip for speeding up gameplay is delegate a lot of it. If you watch what I'm actually doing between matches in this save, you can see that I've streamlined my gaming down basically to try and make better content. I wouldn't necessarily be this streamlined if I was playing a save privately, but because I know the bits people are most interested in are the matches and transfers is what people want, in my experience. So I try and make it so that the majority of the time you're watching matches or transfers, and try and minimize all of the other bits and do as little of it as possible. Right. Oh, God. Right. We're going to bring O'Donoghue. That's the second time we brought him on at left back. I think we're training him to play midfield at the moment. We're going to change it and train him to play left wing back because that's where we keep bringing him on. Oh, hold on. I guess I have to make it full back, wing back. That one, yeah. We'll train him to play there. Can he even tackle? Ah, plenty. 4 tackling is plenty. That means he can spell tackle. That's all I really need from him. Right, we're going to go attacking because Northampton are basically bottom of the league. We should be beating them. We are just really struggling for goals. That's why the network gainer is always waiting for Zealand. Yep. As he takes the opposite view. So I still play the way I normally play. Oh, that's you. Lovely, lovely, lovely. But there's Zealand literally doing his own press conferences, which... Oh, God. I don't even understand. I can't imagine a world where someone does their own press conferences. I can't think of one good reason to do them. Do you find narrow diamond works all the way through the leagues or more lower league effective? Well, I'm using it with Norwich in the Premier League, and it seems to be working there. I won a showdown with it with an unlimited budget, so all the top players. Ooh, I would argue it's probably more effective the higher up you go because the players are fitter. M. Moses, thank you very much for the sub. Press conferences need a revamp. I mean, they're fine. Leave them in for people who want to do them. Jack summed it up perfect. I think it was Jack on the network game last week. The press conferences are there for immersion. They don't have any impact on the game. So real life football managers do press conferences. So it's in the game, but it doesn't achieve anything. There's no in-game benefit at all. That's a perfect penalty. There's no in-game benefit to doing a press conference. They're just there so that you can feel like a football manager. That's why they give you the option to type in your own answers. Do you think the AI of Football Manager is intelligent enough to be able to interpret what you type in and somehow include that in match performance? I'll explain. No, it's not. Yes, I guess it can have a really marginal impact on morale. It's so marginal, it's not worth worrying about. Genuinely, don't bother with them. They're the first thing to bin off when you try to get through the game a little bit quicker. There you go, we're sending some boys on holiday. One creator did a season, clicking random buttons in the press conferences made no difference whatsoever. Exactly, that's what I mean. It makes no difference. It's one of many things that some people have got in their head are crucial, so they do them and feel like it's having an impact. I mean, there's just some people out there in the world, Zealand, there's some people out there in the world, I'm not going to name any names, but there are some people out there who just like to feel like they're doing something. Oh, we've got our new director of football in. Pat O'Neill. Is he any good? He is slightly better than the one we had before. Only slightly better, I think. But slightly better is better than not better. That is a slogan to live by. So this was the guy we had before. 11, 8, and 6. They're the crucial things for a director of football. Whereas new guy, 12, 12, 12. Yeah, he's actually quite a lot better. Plus, he's got a beard. We just need to sort out his staff responsibilities. We'll do it from this screen so I don't miss any out. So that should mean we get some better director of football recommendations for transfers in January. Because that's one thing we really missed out on this summer. The director of football recommendations were absolute poppycock. And I don't use that kind of language lightly, but they were poppycock. Why is our head of youth development doing press conferences? That seems silly. Just give all this a little freshen up on the way through. Don't remember the last time I went and touched this screen. This should be something else the technical director or the director of football does. Going through and reallocating these to the most appropriate way on a regular basis. So I don't have to go through and do it myself when I remember. Can you turn off masking in game? Don't really. No. Once the save is started, that's it. It's either there or it's not. This isn't always so silly stuff like you'd not swap Andy Carroll for Neymar. Yeah, but luckily, it doesn't matter. It makes absolutely no difference to anything, so it's fine. I just don't even read what they've said. Because I know it has absolutely no impact. It doesn't matter. He can say what he likes. The assistant manager could just sit there in the press conferences and recite poetry. It doesn't matter. I just click the second right answer for every question. Why not just let your assistant manager do it then? What are my thoughts on Encanto? It's great. Best song since Moana. Love a Disney film. New signing press conferences are worse. Yeah, don't do them either. Don't do any of them. You could have Cantona as your assistant. You should have Cantona as your assistant. He'd be perfect for doing press conferences. We don't even have a striker on the bench. We're running out of strikers. Right, come on, let's do a football. Hughes has got to be fit again soon. We can't go through a whole stream without Hughes. The main reason I wanted to stream today was so I could see him carrying on banging in the goals. Although maybe Conte's going to emerge as a League Two striker. That would be perfect. I would just be like the genius of player development if this works. Because Conte's been knocking around for the last couple of years, getting bits of game time here and there. Established stars ahead of him who he can't get past. The established stars haven't started the season well, so Conte's come in. That's his second goal in consecutive matches, isn't it? I think we might have our League Two striker to partner Hughes. Yeah, he scored against Northampton. He scored again here. Ibrahim Conte at 21 years old might have just become a regular starter in League Two, which is awesome. I heard you taking player X on trial. You're going to sign him. Go away. I've stopped responding to those two. It only prompts them to bother you later on when you don't sign them. I just don't do any of them. I just decline everything, and it makes no difference. Have you seen me? Oh, this is probably the worst place to ask it. Have you seen me really struggling with my saves as a result? I know it took us a while to get out of the National League, but I don't think doing press conferences would have made it go any quicker. How do I feel creators often don't play with the vanilla version of the game? I'm not sure what you mean. If I wasn't creating content, I wouldn't be modding the game. I never did before. I'm quite happy to play the game as it was intended. I don't need... Because I spend a lot of my time in the lower leagues anyway. I don't need extra faces and kits and badges to, it doesn't have any impact on my enjoyment. I do that stuff now because it's easier than having to type in the comments every day explaining why I don't do it. I mean, how do FM feel? Well, it's the reason they can't really work with us. It's the reason that we're not part of a Football Manager equivalent of the FIFA or the EA Game Changers thing. Because their most popular creators, I mean, ultimately, all their creators are out there blatantly going against the licensing agreements that they've got. We saw with the Manchester United situation where they sued them over it. They can't be seen to support us ignoring licensing agreements. Is there nothing that says you can't stream it if it's modded? No, there's not. Because they know, again, they have to be smart with it. They know everyone's going to mod it. That's probably why it's so easy to mod. I mean, the folders you have to drop stuff in are right there in your documents. It's pretty easy to mod. They know everyone's going to do it, but they can't encourage you to do it, and they can't promote you doing it. I mean, just like I can't tell you where to get mods from. Because part of my contract with 2Game is that I can't promote modding. It's why whenever anyone asks me, I tell you to go and watch Jack's video. Who, coincidentally, doesn't have a 2Game contract like most of the rest of us do. Because we're not allowed to promote modding as part of our contract with them. Owen, thank you for 14 months. How's the traffic? Not too bad. We've had a lot of deliveries today. We've had our Gusto box. We've had Amy's mattress. I got some game mats for Pokemon that I'm going to use as my little backdrop when I'm doing card openings on video. So, yeah, it's been busy out there, but it's fine now. There's just the one car out there. Why can't I hear any background music when I play the stream from the beginning, but only in live stream mode? Because I have it set up so the music doesn't record onto the VODs. Because it makes it easier for Chris to edit. Out of interest, why is modding against my sponsors' interests? Because they're an authorized Sega reseller, so they can't promote modding, or else Sega can't work with them anymore. So they can't have people there paying to promote them promote modding. It just all filters down. It's just all lawyers upon lawyers upon lawyers. That was a nice goal. Boom. We're top of the league yet? Almost. I think we're going to stand for a bit, boys and girls. I think we're going to stand for a bit. Oh. Oh, I need to update my shirt. Update my shirt. Move my shirt. I need to properly Wallace and Gromit this situation. That's still wrong. So that when I raise and lower the desk, there's some kind of pulley system back there that raises and lowers the shirts that I want you to see. It's the only thing that doesn't move with the desk now that I would like to move with the desk. Is there a Dortmund shirt hiding anywhere? Luckily, you can't tell because all the shirts back there seem to be yellow at the moment. Has there been any update on the house we want to buy? I haven't really looked, to be honest. I don't want to obsess over it. So we'll see where we are once we get to April. We'll get to April, see what the accounts are looking like, get a mortgage agreement in principle, check that it's for enough, and then if it is, go back and see if the house is still available. I've kind of blocked it out of my mind for now because if it goes, it goes. I don't want to be disappointed. Not like I say, doesn't include leagues with the licensed badges and faces. It's just some of the more popular leagues. Yeah, I mean, obviously, SI include the stuff that they have licensed, so they have to pay for all that stuff. So for them to have EFL badges and faces and kits, that's costing them money to buy those licenses. Why do we want to move? Because we want to buy a house. We rent here. We moved over this way for Anna's job that she got last year that she doesn't do anymore because it was a horrible job and it didn't really fit in with the rest of our family life. But we've been here a year and a half. Our tenancy agreement is up at the end of the year. We could extend it, but we're pretty happy here. I think we can settle down here for the long term. And we're in a position finally where we can buy. So figure it's probably as good a time as any to finally buy a house. Plus, my office is tiny, so I'd like a big office. I don't see myself working out of this cupboard for the next 5 years. I think I did nearly 5 years in the garage, which although it was cold, it was big enough and I could fit all my things in it. Whereas this cupboard is so small that I'm having to pay £100 a month for a storage unit to put the other half of my stuff in. I can't fit in here because there's nowhere else to put it. 1-0. Hated renting, don't like putting money in someone else. I don't mind renting at all. Ultimately, it's just I'm just paying for permission to live somewhere, same as if I own. But rather than paying it all in one go, I'm paying it bit by bit. I don't see it as massively different. There are advantages to renting for sure. Being able to move without having to worry about selling your house, or is the timing right in the market, or if the boiler explodes, you just ring someone up and you get a new one for free. I think there's a lot of advantage to renting. But long term, makes sense to have somewhere that we own when I'm all old and wrinkly and not earning any money anymore. So I don't have to have any outlay. Yeah, I think wherever we move next, we're at the point as well where the kids are all on the verge of moving out or have already moved out. Lucy's already gone. Andy will be going in the next 6 months or so, probably. Amy turns 16 this year, so she's not going to be too far behind. So we can get somewhere that will then suit us for the rest of our lives then, rather than getting somewhere that's great for raising kids and then not great for when we're in our 60s. We're buying our retirement home. Renting's just paying someone else's mortgage. Nonsense. Renting is paying for somewhere to live, just like paying a mortgage is. We've had this conversation before. We don't need to get too into it. Just know, qualified financial advisor. Renting is just paying permission to have somewhere to live. If you view it as paying someone else's mortgage, you're just setting yourself up for being grumpy about it. And you don't need to be. Renting is great. Most people, if renting didn't exist, most people would be stuck living with their parents, because for a lot of people, being able to buy a house suitable for what they need just isn't possible. I've talked before about how we pay 825 or 850, I can't remember. Somewhere around there we pay for this house. For us to pay a mortgage on a house exactly like this is about $1,200 a month. So it's £400 a month cheaper for us to rent than it is to buy. And I've been paying that amount of rent for the last 20 years, there or thereabouts, give or take £100 here or there either side of it. At no point, okay, maybe there was maybe a 2-year spell about 10 or 15 years ago, but for the majority of those 20 years, I wouldn't have got a mortgage for that amount. I've very rarely had the option to buy a house that was suitable for what we needed to live in. The sort of houses we could get on the sort of mortgage I'd have been able to get would be like 2-bed houses for a family with 3 kids. This doesn't work. Whereas we could rent somewhere with 4 bedrooms. I'd be screwed after a divorce and child support if I wasn't renting. Exactly. People forget the fees involved in buying. Exactly. The craziest thing is you get people who are like, oh, I wouldn't dream of renting. It's paying someone else's mortgage. But they'll buy a house and then sell it again 2 years later and move somewhere else. But that's lost them loads of money doing that. Doesn't it hinder you not being able to change the value of your asset? But doesn't it hinder you not being able to change the house at all? But we can change the house. Most landlords are pretty accommodating. As long as the house, you just have to have the conversation with your landlord. I've rented 4 places now in my life, and every single one of them, the conversation has gone, do you mind if we do this? And they're like, no, it's fine. Do you mind if we do this? No, it's fine. I don't think I've ever had a landlord say no to anything. And the last 2, including this place, after a couple of requests, it's basically got to, look, do what you want with the place. Just make sure it's like in a rentable condition again when you leave. So if you're going to paint the walls black, you're going to fix them before you leave, or we're going to charge you for fixing them. But you can do what you want with it. And that's great. I don't need to put a conservatory up or redo the kitchen. And if we needed a new kitchen, I'd say to the landlord, this kitchen needs doing up. And we'd have that conversation. And if we don't like the outcome, we could just move and rent somewhere else. Yeah, like someone else said, it's free home improvement for them in most cases. Exactly. People have got a strange view of landlords. So many people have been priced out of owning a home. Exactly. And I was one of them for a long time. I was on the verge of being able to buy a house just before I got divorced, like 12 years ago. And then, so there was, like I said, there was maybe a 2-year period then between like 2008 and 2010 where financially we probably could have done it. But anyone who's got their finger on the pulse of financial history will know why we weren't able to buy a house between 2008 and 2010. Because all of a sudden, all of the mortgages that needed anything less than like a 20 or 30% deposit went away because of the financial crisis. So the goalposts moved. We'd been saving up for like 7 or 8 years to get to the point where we could put a 5% deposit down on a house that was suitable for us and our kids. And then all of a sudden the goalposts moved and it's like, yeah, you need 25% now. But I still can't do it. Hello, Dave. And that's the only time realistically I could have bought. And then once I got divorced, again, I was on one income again, and trying to buy a house on one income is a nightmare. This is the conversation that should be taught at school. It's a conversation I would have in PSHE. I did a bit of PSHE when I was at school. And I would talk about stuff like this and financial stuff as well, and how to run a bank account, how credit cards work, all that kind of stuff. Was that during the time I was no longer a Japanese millionaire? Yeah. Have I seen The Big Short? I have. It's a perfectly acceptable movie. The JK, thank you very much for the sub. My parents bought their first house in 2006. Talk about good timing. Yeah. Ultimately, if renting, you don't actually own anything, but with a mortgage, you own that house. Yeah, but that doesn't matter. I don't own my car either. But I've got a better car than I would have had if I'd have bought one. So no one lectures me about, oh, but you don't own that car. I lease my car. I rent my house. I don't own my Sky Q box either. If I leave Sky, I have to give that back. It's fine. What keyboard do I use? It's a Logitech MX Master Keys, I think. Surely the renting buying discussion is personal specific. Yeah, absolutely it is. I made a video about this about a year ago. Cars go down in value, houses go up. I've got a decent stock portfolio that's gone up loads in value. Just because I don't own a house doesn't mean I don't have assets that are increasing in value. And you know the great thing about my assets that have increased in value over the years? Don't have to worry about living in them. So if I decide to spend them on something, I can. Whereas you have to live in your house. It's all well and good. I've got £200,000 of value in my house. Yeah, you still got to live there though. You can't do anything with that 200 grand. You're living in it. My asset is there and I can use it when I want it. And I would have a much smaller stock portfolio if I'd have been owning a house like this for the last however many years. Because like I say, it's 400 to £500 a month cheaper for me to rent than it is to own. So that's £400 or £500 I wouldn't have been investing for that amount of time. The big thing for me is I don't want to move often and I want to leave my kids the house when I go. I know that isn't a position of a lot of people. Yeah, I mean, that's part of why I want to buy now, because I imagine the next place we move to we'll live in forever. That's the plan. I'm not a stubborn man. I'm an intelligent man. I'm not stubborn at all. I'm just right. I know what I'm talking about. We're top of the league. Because again, I mean, I'm not picking on what Adam said, but just to analyse what he said there, I want to leave the house to the kids when I go. Well, if I die now, my kids have got like £500,000 to share between them, between investments and life insurance. It's not like because I rent, they're going to have nothing. They're going to be all right. So it doesn't really matter that I don't own a house. The main reason I bought my house really was because it halved my monthly payment on the place I live, because living in... I mean, that makes loads of sense. Yeah, if we wouldn't be having this conversation if it was cheaper to get a mortgage than it was to rent somewhere. But where I've lived for my entire life, it's always been cheaper to rent. For the entire... I mean, I've moved out of my parents' house 22 years ago. And for that entire 22 years, renting has been the cheaper option than buying. Buying is a long-term luxury option. If you've got the money spare, then yeah, go for it. But I've always had other financial priorities. Whereas now we're in a position where, yeah, okay, we can spare that extra £500 a month to buy a house now. And it would be nice to know that in 20 or 30 years' time, it'll be completely paid off, and that's one less monthly expense then. That's nice. But it's not essential. I think we ran the numbers before. I could just carry on investing that £500 a month for the next 30 years. And probably that would have grown to the point where, I mean, how old would I be then? Nearly 70. How many years have I realistically got left? 10 years maybe at that point? I reckon if I invested £500 a month for the next 30 years, that would grow to the point where I could pay rent for 10 years with it. Comfortably. And have lots left over as well. It's not as simple as some people make out, because they don't run the numbers and they don't actually critically think about it. They just think, people say you should buy a house, so I'll buy a house. This is why people have financial advisors. It was easy. If it was easy or obvious which path was better, there'd be no reason for financial advisors. Yeah, exactly. Can you be my financial advisor? I'm not licensed anymore. I'm qualified as a financial advisor, but I'm no longer licensed. Buying ties your money up and makes it hard to get your mum back for... Buying does tie your money up massively. Yeah, because that's the other thing. That scenario I talked about, if YouTube goes away tomorrow and I've committed to an extra £500 a month and my income goes away, all of a sudden I'm risking my house now because I couldn't afford the mortgage we're going to get on a teacher salary. So if my income went away like a month after we moved, if I got cancelled and I had to go back to being a teacher, we're then not able to afford our mortgage, so we have to sell the house and move. And what if the house price has fallen? We then get trapped in negative equity. It's a whole big risk thing. There's a big risk involved in buying a house. But yeah, it ties up the money as well. Whereas my way, or the way I've done it so far, if I rent for X amount and then pay the difference into investments, the worst thing that can happen if I lose my job or if I lose my income is I just stop investing until I get a new one. Or I invest a smaller amount. But my house is still secure. Because I have enough to, even if I mean, I don't know the numbers. I've never been on benefits, so I don't know how much they pay, but I assume most families of 5 could cover £800 a month rent on benefits, I assume. Whereas you don't get that if you're a homeowner. You don't get housing benefit to cover a mortgage. So there are lots of risks involved in it. But like I say, we're finally at the point where I think the time is probably right. We're not going to risk Jamar Hughes in this match because that would be madness. We're going to bring O'Donoghue on in midfield this time and have a look at him there. I want my own house simply because it's mine. This is my house. I own the right to live in it for the rest of the year. How do mortgages work with content creation? Do they understand it as an income? Yeah, I mean, income's income. I'm a business. So they don't need to know the ins and outs of what my business is. They just look at my accounts and I tell them what my profit is. They see how much tax I pay and they treat me as any other self-employed person. Getting in before 2008 made sense, but now mortgages are crazy high and we're in a housing boom. I mean, the thing is, interest rates are the lowest they've ever been. So that's the other thing people don't really factor in. If you've grown up, like if you're 30, you've only ever known mortgage interest rates being like 3, 4, 5%. When I started working in 2000 for a building society, I was saving people money by remortgaging them down onto like 8 or 9% mortgages because we weren't that far removed from mortgage interest rates being in the mid-teens. Just because it hasn't gone to that point in the last 10 or 15 years doesn't mean that we couldn't find ourselves in a situation over the next 5 years where your mortgage interest rate goes up to 10, 12%. It's happened before. It could happen again. So that suddenly turns your mortgage that's £1,200 into a mortgage that's £1,600. That extra £500 a month is now an extra £800 or £900 a month. Ooh. It's another risk you don't have to worry about as a renter. Interest rates in Australia in the 80s were 20% and more. Yeah, exactly. These young whippersnappers don't know they're born. I did a mortgage in the late 90s and people were panicking trying to lock 7.5% before it changed. Now they're half that. Yeah, exactly. But it's been low for so long now that unless you were around then, you don't really realise it happened. We're absolutely thumping this lot. Chris, I hope you've enjoyed editing this together so far. There's been football going on in the background whilst I've ranted on a long rant about something utterly unrelated that you're going to find it really hard to edit around. You're welcome. I was working when the interest rate jumped like up to like 12% overnight for a short period of time. Exactly. Well, Okoronkwo's finally arrived in League Two, which is nice. I feel like he's exploded there while I've been ranting. Yeah, 5 goals in his last 4 games. We were a little bit worried that he wasn't going to score goals at this level. Worry over. 8 goals in 10. We have our multiple League Two level strikers now. And we're up in the automatic promotion spots. Look at that. We've got the 2 top scorers in the division. Hughes and Okoronkwo both on 8 goals apiece. Beautiful. I pay $675 a month for a 2-bed flat. The only thing I have to worry about is paying for council tax, TV licenses. The rest gets paid by the rent, with the rent. See, that's great. We play West Ham under 23s soon. What a time to be alive. After we played their first team last year. What are you telling me about Papa Georgiou? He's playing loads of games. We're playing him out of position. What do they want to use him as? A ball-winning midfielder. But he's a creative force. He's scoring goals. He's creating chances. I don't use a ball-winning midfielder. Who agreed to this? Yeah, get out of here, Lebo, yeah? You numbskull. First time watching on Twitch, came for the Football Manager, stayed for the financial chalkboard. Yeah, we've moved on now. I'm off my soapbox. I think I started that with, I'm not going to get into it because we've talked about this before. And then my pre-prepared 15-minute lecture started. Just boom, there it is. I've got to learn to hold that one in. But I'm quite passionate about it because, I even get it from my dad. Why haven't you bought a house yet? Because it's not the right time. I don't feel any pressure to buy one. I'll buy one when I'm ready, when I want to. How's the chair? Currently considering getting a Secret Lab one. It's great. If anyone from Secret Lab's watching and wants to sort me out with a discount code, I could really say some nice things about this chair. For now, I'll just say it's a decent chair and leave it at that. But just know I've got more in me. Got more in me. But I'm not doing it for free. What do you think this is? Where's the PowerPoint presentation? Pros don't need PowerPoint. How am I finding now, having used the desk in many for... Well, how am I liking the sit-stand desk? It's great. I love the fact that when I'm... it's not just when my bum hurts. Just anytime, if you sit at a desk all day, sometimes you're just like, I've got to get up. I've got to move. Well, no, I can just get up and I can move. It's great. I really like it. I've been on some medication for the last 18 months or so. They changed my blood pressure medication and it made my ankles really swell. And I've noticed since I've been able to move around more, the ankle swelling has pretty much gone away. So that's nice. That's a big bonus. Is there a discount link for the desk? I haven't got one of them yet. I don't know if I can heartily recommend them because it was such a mess getting the thing delivered. I'm enjoying it now it's here. I can generically say sit-stand desks are great. Whether you need a fancy fully one, you'd probably be okay with one from IKEA. I can't speak for how... I mean, I love the fact it's got the automatic mechanism and programmable heights and stuff in it. That's really handy. But I imagine IKEA probably do a version of it that would be fine. You don't need to import it from Belgium. Ace, thank you very much for the gifted sub. What's wrong with my bum? All sorts of things. We're going to do a whole stream today where I don't talk about my butthole. It's a short stream. Short stream, no butthole. We drop 45 minutes of stream time, but you actually end up with more Football Manager content because I don't spend an hour talking about my bum. Perfect. Right, let's do a football. We're losing here. Oh, Tyler Goodrum's arrived. They're all starting to get a feel for League Two now. I use a very desktop mount. Sit stand, but don't have to replace the whole desk. Nice. The reason I didn't do anything like that is because I needed something enormous that I could mount a lot of things to. And it needed to be able to support a lot of weight. Because I've got 4 multi-mounts attached to the back of it. With 3 lamps, 2 cameras, 3 monitors. There's all of the stuff like the Go XLR, the Stream Deck, the Mac are all on the desk at all times. I needed an all singing, all dancing solution as a content creator. But if you just work from home and you just sat at a computer all day and you don't have all this extra kit. Oh, I've got this as well. That's a 4th thing that's mounted to it. Microphone arm as well. If you're just working from home normally, you don't need a big fancy one like this. How good are Wigan? Not too bad. On their way back to non-league, where they belong. Get back where you came from, Wigan. Smaller club than Posh, who fluked a few years in the Premier League because of a rich owner. Posture checked. I'm going to have to stand up straight. Oh. There we go. Am I into crypto? I have some crypto. I'm not like a crypto bro. I have about 5% of my portfolio in crypto. Just really FOMO more than anything. It's kind of, I have 90% of my money just goes into index funds and it's just buy, leave, don't think about. And the other 10%, half is in crypto and half's in individual shares. Just because I enjoy it. I enjoy researching stuff. I enjoy tracking like companies and stuff on, you know, I enjoy the gamble of it, I guess, the fun side of being an investor. I guess I'm 90% investor, 10%, I wouldn't even say trader because even then I'm tend to be buy and hold. But I'm a little bit more speculative with that 10% and half of that goes into crypto. Well, I'm a little wary of crypto at the moment. I've not put any new money into crypto for a few weeks because I'm a little bit wary of what's going on in the world at the moment and the impact that could have on crypto. Isn't this the team you kept saying would win League Two straight away? Yeah, we are going to win League Two straight away. We're all right. DM D Moscato, thank you very much for the sub. We're going to hydrate as well. I just poured that all over myself. Which trading accounts will use what for crypto? You trying to hack me? I use Coinbase for trading. And then I store it somewhere else that pays interest. Hey. Metaverse plays are good investments at the moment. If you saw the, I think I've tweeted it before, the balance of my stock, like my play stock portfolio, not the proper investment stuff, my free trade account, where I have my fun money, my fun investing money. We sort that by sector. I don't think there's any personal information on there. You can see that 52% of the portfolio is in tech. It's not very well balanced. It's not very well balanced. But, you know, they're the companies I'm interested in. PayPal have started letting you buy crypto through them. Nice and easy to do. Not an advert. As a PayPal shareholder, I am fully on board with this. Oh, I thought that was Big Holman scoring. It wasn't. Very sad. Still not top of the league. Big Scotty. Exactly. Checked out Footium, but I'm not a fan of NFTs. Footium's the only NFT I've had any involvement in. Again, disclosure. Always have to do disclosure when I talk about them. Footium gave me a team, a free team, which is an NFT. And apparently I'll be able to play with it soon. I don't really have anything more to say about Footium at the moment because I've not played a match on it. The concept of it seems quite clever. The idea of NFTs for pictures of chimps or whatever the options are, frogs, whatever else, that's dumb. But I think NFT as an application for gaming, the way Footium are doing it, could be quite cool if they do it well. My fear is the actual football managery side of it is going to be absolute bobbins, but I guess we'll find out when I get to play on the beta. NFT plus gaming is great. Yeah, I mean, being a Pokemon card nerd now, every physical pack of Pokemon cards you buy, you also get an online code where you open an online pack. They could be NFTs. That would be a great application of it. If I could trade digital Pokemon cards the same way I trade the physical ones and have two separate proper collections going, that'd be so cool. Have I seen much about So Rare? I've looked into it. I have a So Rare account. I have a team, but it was just one that I assembled for free. The thing that didn't appeal to me about So Rare is it was in obscure leagues that I don't know anything about. I think for me to be really into it, and I don't keep my ears to the ground on it, so it might already have done this, but for me to really get into So Rare, it needs to be in the English leagues. I don't want to have to go and learn about completely different leagues that I don't really have any interest in just for the sake of an investment or a game. But if they bring it to the leagues I'm already interested in and already watching, and it becomes like FPL but properly monetized, that'd be cool. I'd enjoy that. I get the benefit of being an NFT there rather than just a tradable product. Oh god, hello. What? No. Outside here? Anna's panicking. There's an open reach van outside. That's fine. The internet's on. We're good. Anna was hiding the other side of the door. I don't know why she didn't just come in. Right. West Ham under 23s in the Papa Johns. We care not about this. But because of the stupid rules, we have to play something close to a first team. So we'll just use that team. It'll be fine. It might be Jeffrey. Maybe it is Jeffrey. I've not had any internet problems today, so there's no reason for him to be here. They must be seeing one of the neighbours. I've not seen anything NFTs that made it better for being an NFT. Well, the Pokemon card example I was giving, the frustrating thing about the online version of Pokemon at the moment is I'm trying to build a deck to play with, but the whole way of trading cards, they don't even have a marketplace like you have on FIFA because there's not really any incentive for people to do it. So if there was a way for them to make some money by selling their good cards, I might be able to buy some good cards to build a good deck with. But at the moment, it's just complete luck of the draw. You basically open packs and that's about it. You have to build your deck out of what you open. Whereas if I could go on to a marketplace on there and buy the card that I want to build the deck that I want to play, I would spend money on that. But the only reason it makes more sense for it to be an NFT to give people, rather than buying the cards directly from the Pokemon company. Did I ever get into Football Index? No. I was vaguely aware of it, but wasn't really into it. What does NFTs change about trading cards that can't be done anyway? I mean, digital ones, it changed. I mean, I think you're getting too bogged down on the idea of it being an NFT. I'm just talking about having, giving people the option to be able to buy and sell their digital trading cards with real money or crypto. It doesn't really matter either way, which by definition makes it an NFT. But you don't have to call it that. You could just call it the marketplace. Change the subject. How's getting healthy going? Genuinely interested and like following your journey on YouTube. Currently on intermittent fasting and running when I can. The standing desk and the walking treadmill are a huge game changer. I'm noticing myself getting fitter just because I'm walking on the treadmill for 30 to 45 minutes a day at the moment. I'm trying to build that up. I'm getting more exercise than I've had in a long time. Annoyingly, my Apple Watch doesn't recognize it as exercise because obviously that's on my wrist and I'm there working whilst walking. So my wrists aren't really moving, so it's not registering it as steps or exercise. So I try and start it as a workout on my watch. And every 10 minutes or so, it's like, have you finished your workout? You don't seem to be... No, I'm still walking. So I want it to track it. I like it all being tracked. You know me. Love stuff being tracked. But yeah, that side of things is cool. I'm not doing any particular kind of fancy diet at the moment, other than I'm just trying to... Oh, there's my boy Pablo. Fornell's still in place for West Ham in this universe, far in the future. Why is he playing for the under-23s? Yeah, I'm trying to eat lots of fibre, lots of fruit and veg. Oh, Pablo Fornells has missed a penalty. This is so unrealistic. And generally be mindful of what I'm eating. I try to avoid too much meat. I try to avoid too much processed food, but I'm not following any specific plan at the moment and just kind of seeing what happens. But certainly there's some positive changes going on. You watch on your leg, phone in the pocket to track it. That might be an idea. The Shawnster and Jalexi, thank you both for the subs. Pablo knew who the opposite manager was there. He did. And now we're going to beat West Ham under 23s. I need to see how old Fornells is. We might be able to bring him in as a coach. Where is he? He's only 34. We're not as far in the future as I think we are we? Scout him. He's playing for their under 23s. We might be able to get him on loan at Christmas. Can you imagine? I'd bring Pablo Fornells to Leamington. That would be amazing. That would be better than Tammy Abraham at Norwich. Phil Scott needs to watch himself here. I don't want West Ham realising he exists. Because that wouldn't be ideal. We might be going back to Wembley in this tournament. We're thumping everyone in it. I thought the groups were supposed to be roughly geographical in this as well. We play in Birmingham and we're in a group with Crawley, West Ham and Wimbledon. I feel like they've lost the whole geographical element of these group stages there. Tyler, thank you for 13 months. I think that's us qualified. 2 wins. I think we're through. Still not played Wimbledon. I don't remember Wimbledon even being on the schedule, actually. I know it is. It's there. Just a huge gap between each of the matches. Dan, thank you very much for 2 months. Better than anything on Netflix. I like it. Although they have just put the US Office back on Netflix. So don't know that I can agree, but I am there for it. Who the is Anucha Wong Pradit? Why am I paying £0 to Manchester City for him? Fair enough. That told me. We brought him in the summer. Right. I want to be top of the league for the end of the stream. We've probably got half an hour left before I have to leave you for non-league to legend. Ha! Record low attendance. Amazing. 337 people turned up for that pointless match. Even FM knows that competition is absolutely pointless. But Tinder Swindler. Right, that's 3 streams in a row now. I'm going to have to watch Tinder Swindler, aren't I? To learn what it is. I'm fed up with you. I feel like I'm missing out on a cultural event. It's starting to take over the chat, Tiger King style. He's not as good at Tiger King. I'm suing everyone who's ever mentioned it. Not worth the time. Well, why do people keep talking about it? It's not pointless, Posh, wasn't it? It is pointless. I was there when we won it. It was still pointless. Hello? Right. Nice. Oh, just leave it out there. It's for the bed. I don't know if you heard that. Andy, someone on Andy's bus home from school was sick, and now he's telling Anna he's sick. Because he's seen someone else be sick. To be honest, I'd probably feel sick if I was trapped on a minibus that stank of vomit. I'd probably feel pretty sick. We'll leave them that way round. Who are we playing? Mansfield. So Mansfield are in the bottom half somewhere, I think, because I didn't see them on that screen. We'll find them in a minute to find out how good they are. But we are, I hope we just carry on rattling in the goals now. We've got the 2 top scorers in the division up front together, which has been a bit of a rarity for us this year. But if Okoronkwo and Hughes can start firing on a regular basis, we might have to make them both more attacking instructions. Forget having Goodrum alongside either of them. Get them both doing the attacking stuff. Brilliant. What do I think about McCann at Posh? Can't really judge him until next season, because we're basically already down in a league that we're not good enough to be in. I don't think he's any improvement on what we had before, and we fired him last time he was here, so hopefully he's got a lot better. He's got his actual assistant manager with him this time, so maybe he's the key. Maybe the 2 of them together is what makes him good. Maybe it's the assistant manager who's actually got the talent. Because you can't really argue with his results at Doncaster and Hull, but certainly when he was with us, he was clueless. So hopefully he's not clueless anymore. Does his friends know his dad is a football manager YouTuber? No, he doesn't know I'm a football manager YouTuber. Has Fuchs been good at Posh? He's been fine. He's a good defensive midfield player. Not really enough of a complete midfield player for my taste. Come on, gentlemen. I really do insist that we do a football round about now. One moment. What are you doing to that dog? Dave's just barking his head off out there. Just messing with him. Right, we don't have any left backs. O'Donoghue's going to come on at left back because we're training him to play there. And we're going to go attacking, actually. We can't be losing against Mansfield. See, this is what happens. I'm concentrating on the game again and we're starting to slip back down the table. When I wasn't paying any attention at all and was just ranting about mortgages, we went up to top of the league briefly. Now I'm concentrating on the game again. It's all gone wrong. Hey! Lovely, lovely, lovely. Oh, we're on a hype train as well. Beautiful. What else can I rant about? I'm hungry. I can rant about that. There you go. If we can grab a winner here, we should go back to the top of the table. Quickly, give me something to rant about. Top flavour crisp, smoky bacon. No discussion needed. Anyone who disagrees is wrong. Simple. Right, here we go. Okoronkwo's in as well. Come on now. We'll score from the corner. It's fine. We could bring little Holman on and we could have the Holman brothers together. That might be nice. Prawn cocktail and salt and vinegar. You've somehow managed to name the two worst flavours in one 5-word message. Oh, little Kev. Little Kev is there. What do I think of the Chelsea ownership situation? I agree with Thomas Tuchel. It's none of my damn business. Because we don't talk about politics on the channel. We're an escape from all that. You come here so you don't have to think about the real world. Not to hear me talk about the real world. Yikes. Worst football player I've ever seen live. I would suggest, I probably don't remember him. That's unfortunate. Right. He can play right back. We'll just do that for now. Mortgages aren't real world. If there was anyone who was already stressed about mortgages and I've made it worse, I apologise. You know that's not what I mean, though. We didn't talk about COVID. We don't talk about wars. We don't talk about politics. We don't talk about religion. We steer clear of any big issues. I'll talk about crisps all day long, but I'm not going to talk about anything real. This is, are we top of the league yet? We are top of the league. Beautiful. Beautiful. We are top of the league, is what I hear them chanting. What's my favourite meal to make? I hate cooking. I've come to realise that over the last year or so. I do all the cooking in our house, and it's slowly dawning on me that I really don't like doing it. I really don't enjoy it. I guess my favourite thing to do, my favourite thing to cook, it's very different, a very different answer to my favourite things to eat. My favourite things to cook are just quick, easy things that just gets food in me quickly without me having to spend too much time in the kitchen. Why do I do it all? Because I'm really fussy about food and following recipes. If I do it, I know it's done exactly how I want it. Someone else does it. It's the same with driving. I don't like being in a car when someone else is driving. I don't like eating meals other people have cooked. Restaurants and takeaways and stuff is fine because they're professionals. Just like being in a taxi's fine. But yeah, I'd rather just do it the way I want it. What am I making tonight? Well, it will be one of the 4 things that Gusto have just delivered. I can't remember what's in the box. Shall we have a look? So my 4 Gusto options for this evening are... Bear with me, boys and girls. Oh, wow, I'm making this. A Marmite beef and onion pastry pie with peas. That's what we're having for tea tonight. Anything with Marmite in, I'm on board. There's also fish and chips with peas, an American chicken burger with bacon jam, or a mild chicken curry. We're absolutely having the pie. Marmite for tea. Yes! Bodine's had a food truck at the Wimbledon game the other week. That is awesome. Love a bit of Bodine's. Just ordered jars of Marmite to add to every meal. I mean, we have Marmite. I don't want to add Marmite to meals that shouldn't have Marmite in, though. How long did Gusto take to deliver after ordering? Well, you order it like weeks in advance. Like yesterday, I specified the meals that we'll be having in like 3 or 4 weeks' time. And they just deliver it every week. You English and your Marmite. Vegemite all over. Vegemite is just a cheap knockoff of Marmite. It's like, whoa, West Brom, get out of here. Didn't even need to think about that. We're not going to West Brom. So is it just 4 meals to deliver? Yeah. Yeah, and then we'll get the other 3 shopping. What's Gusto like cost-wise? So for 4 meals a week for the 2 of us, it's like £30, I think, £32, something in that kind of range. So pretty much equivalent to what 4 meals worth of food would be, I guess. Certainly if you've got this kind of quality food, because the other 3 meals we'll have a week, we'll just be really lazy with. So it'll just be like a pasta bake or jacket potatoes or spag bowl. Just something that we can throw together really quickly and easily. Stir fry. The only time I ever cook anything really tasty is Gusto, because they send everything you need and it's step by step. This isn't an ad. I do have a code, but I'm not even going to give it to you. Yeah, they send you just what you need for that meal, because it's loads of obscure ingredients that I just won't own otherwise. Let's see what's in this pie that I'm having later. This will be where it's just normal food that I will have around the house. So this pie has got 2 shallots. I'm never going to buy shallots. And certainly you can't buy 2 of them. The fish and chips, panko breadcrumbs. There's never going to be a time when I have panko breadcrumbs in the house, or 5 grams of chives. But these are all the things that make these meals more delicious than the ones I have the rest of the time. 1 red onion, cider vinegar, panko breadcrumbs again, cloves, paprika. I don't have any of this stuff. Sultanas, root ginger, garam masala, turmeric. Cost a fortune to have all that. You can be wrong, Kev. It's okay. Vegemite is a superior product. If you're actually in Australia, though, your Marmite isn't Marmite. I'm sure I read about it on Wikipedia. The thing they call Marmite in Australia isn't Marmite, and what's actually Marmite here is called something else there. That's a wonderful goal. And our Marmite is better than your Vegemite, because we can get Vegemite here. Marmite's better than it. I have everything in my kitchen, you've just said. But you obviously have some kind of extravagant chef's kitchen. Hughes has scored a lot of goals like that this season. I don't think I'll ever be enough of an adult to just have turmeric in my kitchen, just in case I ever fancy cooking with turmeric. That seems far too grown up. These people must have enormous kitchens with all the storage space under the sun. Do I have any herbs or spices? I've got garlic salt. And salt. And pepper. That's probably it. I have no reason to have any of that stuff. I very rarely cook from scratch unless it's gusto. Like I say, the other meals, we'll do something quick and easy, or we'll go out to eat, or we'll get a takeaway, or just something easy peasy. Salt and pepper are seasonings, not spices. I think you'll find I'm English. Therefore, adding pepper to a meal is pretty extravagant. Garlic salt is unnecessary. Just use garlic and salt. Yeah, but then I'd have to be living in some kind of fairy tale mansion where I just own garlic for no reason. Oh, yes, I'm just going to buy some garlic and leave it lying around in my house like a millionaire. You don't become the richest man in FM by buying garlic without a plan for it. Have some garlic salt. The only reason I have garlic salt is because one of my favourite toasted sandwiches is tinned mushrooms, Marmite, garlic salt and cheese. That's a good sandwich. So I need the garlic salt for that. And I'm not just going to have garlic lying around for the once a month where I decide to have that. There's always an emergency tin of mushrooms on hand. The other ingredients are all always here. That's one of those rare things where if I fancy a mushroom toasty, I've got all the requisite parts for it. That's not a good sandwich. That's an amazing sandwich. Has to be tinned mushrooms. Normal mushrooms don't get wet and soggy enough. That sandwich is a good way to avoid people, to have people avoiding you by several meters. Well, the only people who I see on a day-to-day basis is Anna, really. And she'd be eating the same sandwich if we had that, because I do all the cooking. You can stick garlic in the freezer. Our freezer is entirely full of waffles, fish fingers, and Yorkshire puddings, Randy. You can cook the mushrooms to get them in the same shape. But why would I do that? It's lunchtime. Why would I be cooking at lunchtime? The whole purpose of lunch is to get quick food into you so you can get back to work. Don't have time to cook mushrooms. Just empty the tin onto the bread, stick it in the sandwich toaster, get that on while I go and have a poo. When I come back, sandwich is ready. Bob's your uncle. Back to work in 15 minutes. Bang. Does it taste better? I'm not eating for taste. I'm eating so I don't die. If I want to eat for taste, I'll go to somewhere where they know how to cook. I haven't got time for cooking. I'm too busy. And that is a tasty sandwich. One of my other favourites, I like tinned mackerel in tomato sauce with cheese. That's a nice one. Kiva, you know better than to be promoting stuff in my chat. We'll have less of that. Thank you very much. You've been around long enough. Tastes better though when you make it yourself. It wouldn't taste better if it's taken me 20 minutes longer and therefore I've missed 20 minutes of work, which means I'm then behind and stressed for the rest of the day. Gets to Friday evening, I've not finished everything, so I'm now working at the weekend, or I'm just not going to get my work done that week, and I can't afford to buy these ingredients anyway. Just get it done. Boom, boom, boom. Quick, quick, quick. What about cheese and baked beans? I don't mind a cheese and baked bean one. The only problem is they make a real mess of the counter. Because the beans, no matter how few beans, no matter how much you try and get mainly beans and not much sauce, there's always like a pint of sauce that pours out the side of the sandwich. How long do I have for dinner break? What, at lunchtime? 15, 20 minutes? The time it takes me to go upstairs, have some lunch, go to the toilet, come back down again. I'm not sitting around like having a break. I'm there specifically to eat. And then coming back down, use a plate. What, you put your sandwich toaster on a plate? I'm not eating it off the counter. I'm talking about when it's cooking. On that note, I don't use a plate at lunchtime. I just eat off the chopping board that I've made it on. That goes back to life pre-dishwasher. I've never used a plate at lunchtime. Breakfast and lunch, I don't sit down at the table. I just stand at the counter. The only time I sit down for a meal is in the evening. I don't have time the other two meals. I just stand and eat over the chopping board. Cook the beans in the pan to reduce the sauce. I mean, I know you're just trolling now. Because you know, based on what I've said so far, I ain't doing that. My dad used to stand at the counter a lot. I bet he was a busy man. A busy man with lots to do. And not enough time to do it all in. Probably had to get back to sorting his Pokemon cards. Or playing Football Manager. How are our pancakes? Really good. I make a mean pancake. I did try and cheat and save time. I got some ready mixed pancake batter from Marks and Spencer's, thinking it's Marks and Spencer's. This has got to be good. Tried to make pancakes with it. First of all, they all stuck to the pan. Even after the first sacrificial one, they all stuck to the pan, which I've never had that problem with pancakes before. And then Anna was like, these are horrible. What have you done? Your pancakes are usually nice. These are not very nice. And I said, no, they're not. They're Marks and Spencer's one. So I then had to make up some pancake batter anyway and do proper ones. And once we made the proper ones, they were perfect because I am the pancake genius. I've often thought if I was going to open any kind of restaurant or service business, I would want a trailer that I take to town centres on a Saturday afternoon and just do pancakes. Not crepes, pancakes. Because my pancakes are probably the best thing I make. Get some pre-made sandwiches. But that takes longer than just making a sandwich for myself. So I have to walk down to the shop. Plus, our nearest shop is M&S and it's £5 for a meal deal in there. So I can't do that very often. That's when we've run out of bread situation only. Big Holman! That's what you get for having a big boy. You have to offer the first to the pancake gods. Yeah, exactly. It's always going to stick to the pan. Your butter to batter ratio is all wrong on the first one. There you go. Now we're going to score some goals right at the end of the match. Make it look much more comfortable than it ever was. Has that one been disallowed? About right. We don't need to see why. Best topping for pancakes. I just like Nutella. We don't get Nutella very often. I like Nutella. Anna likes lemon and sugar. When I was a kid, I used to just have sugar. I didn't have the lemon, just the sugar. But now I'm a Nutella man on a pancake. Dave likes them with peanut butter. I always make Dave a pancake. Bit of peanut butter. He loves it. A shop in London has opened that just sells water from different places in the world. That sounds awesome. I'd go there. Maple syrup. I don't know where you are in the world, Kenny. You're in the UK, I think, aren't you? Maple syrup costs a fortune in the UK. For proper maple syrup. You can get like maple flavoured syrup, which is just... But for actual proper maple syrup, you may as well be buying unicorn feathers. It's so expensive. Costs nearly as much as Manuka honey. I acknowledge that it tastes good, but I ain't paying £12 for a bottle of syrup. I'm in the UK, but I have friends from Canada. Maple flavoured syrup is hideous, agreed. It just tastes of chemicals. But actual maple syrup is so expensive. Probably only bought maybe 2 bottles in my life of actual maple syrup. I'm the guy who'll buy a massive box of Pokemon cards, but whoa, 1 bottle of maple syrup every 20 years is plenty. Let's not waste money. You can see where my priorities lie, can't you? I wonder why Anna gets frustrated. Sweet waffles, strawberries and cream is better. I do like a waffle. You can't have waffles on pancake day. You have them on waffle day. How would you do maple syrup for like £4? Is it actually maple syrup though? Or is it maple flavour syrup? I find it hard to believe they've got actual Canadian maple syrup for £4. Maple syrup isn't an investment, exactly. Unless you're like, got a garden full of maple trees. If waffle day isn't a thing, it should be. Waffles are to be eaten when I go to Belgium. The best place in the world. There's a waffle day. There should be. Manuka honey is the bomb. Reasonably priced here, but it's an Aussie product. It's like £20 a jar here. Bearing in mind, normal, like, clear honey off of bees is maybe £2, probably not even that. So it's 10 times the price of normal honey, at least. Waffle Day is the 25th of March. Really? Well, I might have to get a waffle iron then. There's chicken and waffles caught on there yet. In London, there's a few places that do it. A few like American diner style places or chicken places, you can get chicken and waffles. It's not something, I don't think I'd be able to get it local to me. It's fine. Oh, sweet left foot's in. Are we letting him just hang around here? Showing off? Showing how fancy he is? With his winning on penalties, fluking his way through. What he doesn't realise is I have a plan for the next showdown. I have a little wooden giraffe that I got from Tiger on Monday. And he's going to be my lucky mascot next time I have a penalty shootout. In your face, Mike. In your face. You can get chicken, bacon, syrup waffles at Harvester restaurants. Can you really? I don't think I've been to a Harvester for a while. Is that true? Yeah, it is true. Holland and Barrett have Buckwood 100% pure maple syrup, 250 grams for $5.99. Well, I mean, I'm not going to go to a health food store just to get myself some maple syrup. I'll buy a bottle in Tesco once every 20 years as planned. I'm not due another bottle for quite some time. Harvesters are mostly serving. I don't think so. I've been to a Harvester in Nottingham. I've been to Harvesters. There's a couple in Peterborough. The technique was... Right, my Apple Watch is screwing with me now. Because not only does it never track when I'm on the walking treadmill, it's just told me I need to stand up. I've been stood up for an hour. Look, I'm up. Stop telling me I need to stand up. What do I think of the Posh performance? I think it was fine. I'm not getting too overexcited about it. We talked about it a lot at the start of the stream. I've heard some, why can't we play like this every week nonsense. And the obvious answer is because we're not playing Man City every week. If we lined up with a back six and no ambition every week, we'd soon get sick of it. There's one in Northampton next to Tim Hortons. Is there, by golly? I went to that Tim Hortons the other week. Got some Timbits and a nice cup of coffee on the way home from the soft play place around the corner from it, which is Andy's favourite soft play place around. I can't remember what it's called. But if you know Northampton, it's right near Tim Hortons in Northampton. Well, I asked for 20 Timbits and they only gave us 10. And I wasn't really paying attention. We went through the drive-through. And me and Anna ate them on the way home. And it was dark. So I was just like, took the box. I was like, that's quite small, but didn't really think anything of it. And I'm there. She's just randomly giving me Timbits. And I had my 5. And she's like, well, they're all gone now. What do you mean they're all gone? I wanted 10. I ordered 20 of these. I expected to have some when I got home as well. I was furious. But I do like Tim Hortons. Jack streamed in the morning earlier. Do I question what's wrong? I mean, he obviously wet the bed, didn't he? Wet the bed, had nothing else to do. I've had any messages from Pizza Express again. They've offered me something that I don't want to do. And it's been left there for now. Riverside Hub, that's what it's called. Riverside Hub. Right, looking at the time, this is going to be our last match for today, I think. Has Conte just got himself sent off? That was a red card challenge in Football Manager, wasn't it? Terrific. I've gone full circle on Conte in this stream. I thought he was our answer at centre forward for a little while. Now we've got the 2 top scorers in the division. Neither of them are him. And he's getting sent off having come off the bench to play in midfield. Oh, I'm fickle. Don't want to see your dirty old replay. So, in addition to Non-Neater Legend at 4 o'clock today, boys and girls, 5 o'clock, you've got a video on the channel formerly known as the Vlog channel, where I open some AEW Upper Deck trading cards that are impossible to get hold of in the UK. You should go and watch it. It's great. And yes, I did make a joke about how they're like gold dust to get hold of in the UK, and I don't mean Dustin Rhodes. Wrestle humour. So you should go and watch that. It's fun. It's the last video you'll have to sit through on that channel where I didn't have the overhead rig set up. So the Pokemon one coming out on Sunday is on the new setup. And it looks much better, much clearer. Hobby channel. I can't call it that. It just seems so wangy. It's what Chris keeps calling it. Right. We will wrap things up there, though, on this stream. I mean, we've done exactly what we set out to do. I said I wanted to come in, get some more games under our belt and get to the top of the league. There we are. 18 games played. We are top of the league. Jamar Hughes is top scorer in the division. Big Holman's one of the best players in the division. Even Tyler Goodrum, who I said has a struggle start, he's top from out of the matches. And he's now got up to a 7.45 average. So although he's not scoring goals or really creating very much anymore, he's still playing very well. So everything else will come, hopefully, for club legend Tyler Goodrum. But we will wrap it up there. Non-League Legend is out in 6 minutes. So you've got time for a poo, get the kettle on. You could probably fit lunch in if you do it Kev style. Make sure you put your garlic salt on your mushrooms. It's delicious. Use that in the outro, Chris. use it. See if I care. And then again, 5 o'clock over onto the hobby channel for another card unboxing. Thank you for watching, boys and girls. We'll be back tomorrow for the network game at 7 o'clock, where I feel like there'll be things for us all to say. The only one who's going to have nothing to say really is probably Jack, because what's he got to brag about from the weekend? But the rest of us, the other 3 of us, are going to have things to say, I'm sure. And I'll see you there tomorrow. Toodle pip, boys and girls.